Rotarians and guests, welcome to the Rotary Club of York. This is the finest Rotary Club that meets every Wednesday at lunch in York County, and I am your president, Aaron Jacobs. And you know, one of the things I've always loved about this club is that we do indeed meet every Wednesday at lunch, which means every time you come to Rotary, that means you've made it halfway through your week. And you can celebrate this accomplishment with your friends and fellow Rotarians. Congratulations. No other organization I know can boast this benefit. And you know what else makes this club so great? The fact that we are service above self and that we follow the four-way test. And if you would recite that for me here, please. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Absolutely. And you know what's nice about this is anybody can apply the four-way test to what they do. It doesn't have to be exclusive to Rotarians, and it's even better when leaders throughout history have applied this, not so much with intention, but by virtue of their character. Martin Luther King Jr. comes to my mind when I think of the four-way test, and with MLK Day having been this week, I think we should all be mindful that we extend the four-way test into the community, just as Dr. King Jr. did. And now I'd like to invite past President Glenn Miller to lead us in the opening song, the Star-Spangled Banner, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and then past District Governor Dick Brown for the invocation and Alexis Campbell for visitor introductions. Mr. Past President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, everybody. Please join me. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon. As we think about a blue zone York County today, as Rotarians, may all our actions lead us to have peace of mind so that we may spread peace in the world. May we be responsible stewards of this earth, treating it with respect so that we may pass an even greener earth to our children. May our own friendliness help spread happiness to all we meet. May our health be such that we can help others less blessed. May our business life flourish so that we may spread this earth's blessings to those less fortunate. Amen.
Hello, fellow Rotarians. I'm pleased to have the honor of introducing our guest for today's meeting. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until President Aaron has welcomed you. I'd like to welcome Bill Schwartz, guest of our speakers. Janelle Mancuso, also a guest of our speakers. We have several guests of youth leadership: Madison Bird, Nicole Bird, Daniel Dempsey, Kathy Dempsey, Joe Dempsey, and Greg Hortman. Herb Stevenson, a guest of Leanne Wilson. Casey French, guest of Bobby DeLea. Mike O'Brien, guest of Elliot Weinstein. Lydia Jones, guest of Jen May. Aaron Treffinger, guest of President-elect Courtney Piccolo. And William Gordon, guest of Tom Calchadrone.
All right. So to our guest, I have a unique once in a lifetime opportunity for you. I don't know if you knew this, but we're only a few members away from being a 300 member club again. That means that one of you could be lucky enough to be that 300th member and have that elite distinction and the bragging rights. Oh my, you couldn't even measure them. They're so great. This also includes former Rotarians who would rejoin. I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to embarrass Bill Swartz or Casey French. Whatever the case, enjoy your lunch, the program, and our fellowship. And Rotarians, let us welcome our guests today. Announcements. We got announcements. The Youth Exchange Committee will meet tomorrow at noon via Zoom. The IDEA Committee will meet on January 26th at 8 a.m., also via Zoom. And the Communication Committee will meet on January 23rd at 3:30 at the Fairway Table at Regents Glen. No Zoom option available. On January 31st, we will hold our weekly meeting back at our old haunt, the Yorktown Hotel. It'll be nice to be back again. However, reservations are required for both members and guests to attend this meeting. You'll find a link in the announcer to easily register online. There's also should be a QR code little slip on your table that you take a snap of it on your phone. You can take care of that right now. And we look forward to seeing all of our guests at that meeting. On to some district news. Our district, Rotary District 7390, is sponsoring a trip from March 13th through the 16th to Rotary International headquarters in Evanston, Illinois. Tour the RI headquarters and enjoy stops at Falling Water, the Flight 93 Memorial, and more. If you're interested in participating in this, please see me and possibly President-elect Courtney because I see one of her buses up there. The membership committee would like to extend its congratulations to Ashley Etzweiler and Karen McCormick. Ashley or Karen, are you here today? Oh my goodness, never on your day. Whatever the case, they have been a member of this club for 25 years. And they joined actually on the same day in January of 1999, and both have been valuable and active Rotarians ever since. Thank you wherever you are for being valued members of our club, and congratulations on this milestone. Central Pennsylvania Business Journal. Now, I know this person is here. Jeff, if you would raise your hand, this is exciting. It had recently announced their icon honors, which is when Central Pennsylvania Journal identifies leaders over the age of, what is it? You're over the age of 30, right? 40. It's 60. For their notable success and demonstration of strong leadership, both within and outside of their chosen field. And we'd like to congratulate our Rotary Club of York member, Jeff Lobach, who was given this distinction. Can we give him a round of applause, please? Comes the broken record part of what I do, talking about 300. So finding new club members, because we're so close, it starts with an invitation from members just like you. Tom Caltagirone is a shining example because every week he is always bringing new members. Raise your hand, Tom. Thank you for doing a good job for bringing Rotary into the community. And let's follow Tom's example by considering inviting at least one person you know to a meeting, because that's how we grow. This can be your coworkers, your neighbors, your clients, a friend, someone you go to church with. We know they will enjoy the food, the fellowship, and the program, and being here might even convince them to join our club. So please reach out to your network and say, please join me at Rotary. And so we can try to get to our goal before the end of this year. Now, after that shameless self-promotion, I'd like to invite Calvin Wary to the podium to offer some remarks for Martin Luther King Day. Calvin.
Where do we go from here? I'm concerned about a better world. I'm concerned about justice. I'm concerned about brotherhood and sisterhood. I'm concerned about truth. And when one is concerned about that, he can never advocate violence. For through violence, you may murder a murderer, but you cannot murder murder. Through violence, you may murder a liar, but you can't establish truth. And through violence, you may murder a hater, but you can't murder hate. Through violence, darkness cannot control darkness. Only light can do that. And I say to you, I have also decided to stick with love. For I know that love is ultimately the only answer to humankind's problems. And I'm going to talk about it everywhere I go. I know it isn't popular to talk about it in some circles today, but I'm talking about emotional love. Not emotional bosh, but I'm talking about true love. I'm talking about a strong, demanding love. For I have seen too much hate. And I say to myself that hate is too great a burden to bear. I've decided to love. And if you are seeing the highest good, I think you can find it that through love, we find a beautiful thing. We aren't moving wrong when we do it. You see, God is love. And he who hates does not know God. But he who loves has the key that unlocks the door of meaning to ultimate reality. And so I say to you today, by my friends, that you may be able to speak with the tongues of men and angels. You may have the eloquence of articulate speech, but if you have not love, it means nothing. Yes, you may have the gift of prophecy. You may have the gift of scientific prediction. You may have the understanding of the behavior of molecules. You may break into the storehouse of nature and bring forth many new insights. Yes, you may ascend to the heights of academic achievement so that you have all knowledge, and you may boast of your great institutions and learning and the boundless extent of your degrees. But if you have not love, all these things mean absolutely nothing. You may have even given your goods to feed the poor. You may bestow great gifts to charity. You may tower high in philanthropy, but it may not have anything if you do not have love. Your charity means nothing. You may even give your body to be burned and to die the death of a martyr. And your spirit blood may be a symbol of honor for generations yet unborn, and thousands may praise you as one of history's greatest heroes. But if you have not love, the blood was spilled in vain. What I'm trying to get you to see this day is the man may be self-centered in his self-denial and self-righteousness, in his self-sacrifice. His generosity may feed his ego, and his plenty may feed his pride. So without love, benevolence becomes egotism, and martyrdom becomes spiritual pride. So I say to you again, I've decided to stick with love. Thank you.
Thank you, Calvin. I said earlier that Dr. King, in his own way, lived out the four-way test in his own legacy. And the one that stands out to me the most is, will it build goodwill and better friendship? And parenthetically, through equality, I think Dr. King truly personified that. So thank you for bringing those remarks alive to us today, Calvin. Onward now, I'd like to do another President's Challenge. The President's Challenge, if you haven't been here or if you forgot, is to inform the club about our committees and the good work they do, create awareness to their projects, Ask other Rotarians to join the committee and ask other people to help. So remember, this challenge isn't just to the committee, it's a challenge to you to join a new committee, bring a new idea, and work together to help bring service above self. And with that, I'd like to invite Kelly Gibson to the podium to talk about the York Rotary Grants Committee. Kelly.
Good afternoon. If you're on the grants committee for Rotary, you don't get a sash. This sash is because I'm going to be the 2024 Grand Marshal of the St. Patrick's Day Parade, just named today. I don't think I'm ever taking it off. I think it's going to the grocery store and picking up the kids. Sorry. Okay, so I am the chair of the Rotary Grants, Charitable Grants Committee. I love being the chair of this committee, and I want to tell you that for those of you who aren't on it, we really put a lot of power and a lot of thought into doing these grants, and our committee has a lot of say each year in how these grants are allocated out to the community. Do I have the crowd? So, you know, really, we provide very valuable and impactful funding into our community through projects and programs, and get to see that impact throughout the year. So our committee really works hard to ensure that we're getting those dollars out equitably and fairly, and really finding some amazing opportunities that we can partner. We usually make grants around $2,500 to $10,000 from funds that are come from our Rotary Foundation. So for our grants committee, it's a different kind of commitment of time. We meet in November to go over the grant guidelines and to choose the 2 areas of focus that we will have each year. And those areas of focus are actually based on the focus areas of our York Rotary Club. So we take out of the focus areas that have been approved and pick 2. And that way, the committee every year can be responding to the needs and shifts in our community. And then we get together and discuss the guidelines, any changes we want. We look at the criteria and adjust those to fit those focus areas. The next thing that we're responsible for is promoting these grants out in the community. So we're making sure we're reaching out very far and wide to all kinds of projects and programs that qualify. And then we get together and score these applications when they come in, and that's on our own time. But we will have one meeting that we get together and compare scores and make the final decisions. And then those grants are announced in June. And then the fall comes and we start all over again. So our 2 focus areas chosen for this coming grant cycle here that will open in March of this year is cultivating youth success and improve the York City environment. And what's great about those 2 focuses is they really leave a lot of room for really innovative and impactful programs and projects that qualify. And this is how you can help. Join us. We're always looking for new committee members. Again, you get a lot of ability to say where the grants go and who benefits from them if you're a committee member. But we also need your help in promoting these grants when they open. The letter of interest opens on March 11th. Send it to anyone you think qualifies. Programs and projects of various kinds that fall under those 2 focus areas. Give us a lot of work to do. We appreciate getting a lot of letters of interest in. And the great news is about the grants process is we ask for a simple letter of interest to ensure that the grant qualifies before we make folks do the work of the application. That way, if it's not qualifying, they don't put a lot of time into the grant process. And then also what you give to the York Rotary Foundation, that's where the dollars come from these grants. So thank you for your support of the Rotary Foundation, and know that those dollars are impacting your community through these programs and projects every day. Okay. If you're interested in joining the committee, please see me. My contact information is also there. And thank you so much.
Fellow Rotarians and guests, it is with great enthusiasm today that I share news about something that will help amplify the impact of the Rotary Club of York and the impact that it has on this community. Through Fox 43 and our parent company, Tegna, a grant has been approved by the Tegna Foundation for the York Rotary Foundation in the amount of $20,000. Now, this contribution is not just a monetary figure. This contribution represents the commitment that Fox 43 has to the values of service, commitment, and making a positive impact on the community that we represent. With this donation, the Rotary Club of York will enhance its ability to support areas of need. With the work that I do on a daily basis at the station, and from the work that I have done in this club, specifically in recent years with our IDEA committee, I have been exposed to many of the pressing needs that we have here in York, and I look forward to the club being a major player in identifying and supporting those areas of need. Outside of the direct impact that this donation will have in our community, I hope that it also inspires each person in our club to make their own donation to improve York, either with your money, which we're always willing to take, and more importantly, for a lot of us, with your time. Thank you very much. You got the pen?
Finders keepers on that sash, by the way. Kelly, this is really your day. I mean, my gosh, go buy a lottery ticket on the way home. I think this is the time to do that.
Yes, donated.
If she wins, right, to the York Charity, York Rotary Grants Foundation. Correct. Thank you to the committee for what you do. And Chris, on behalf of the Rotary Club of York, thank you to Tegna and Fox 43 for that generosity. We are truly blessed to use this resource back into the community that we care so much about. Now moving on, we have a Student of the Month presentation from Jeff Lobach. Jeff.
Thank you, President Aaron. Fellow Rotarians and guests, it's a two pretty tough acts to follow here. But our Student of the Month recognitions are among the most affirming activities that our club undertakes. That's partly because we have this opportunity to recognize two really outstanding students from our local schools. But the other part is that it's an occasion that gives us a glimpse into the future and shows us the best of the rising generations that will follow us. That's certainly true today, as we recognize students from the Christian School of York. This ceremony is especially poignant today because it was actually first scheduled for fall and had to be postponed because of a tragedy in the school community. But we're back, and we have two wonderful students to tell you about. First is Maddie, for Madison Bird. Maddie can be found on the track, on the soccer field, and on the basketball court. But like a lot of our students of the month, including these we're recognizing today, they're not one-dimensional. They excel in academics, sports, and other areas, including arts sometimes. Maddie's also a scholar. She's in the National Honor Society, and she serves her school as vice president of the Student Council. She's the daughter of Nicole Bird, who's here with us today, and her dad, Matt, could not be with us. Daniel Dempsey is here with his parents, Kathy and Joe Dempsey. Daniel enjoys all sports. He plays on the school's soccer team. He's also involved in Bible study at school. And he's been recognized on the school's distinguished honor roll for almost his entire career in high school. We'll hear first from Daniel. Daniel?
How many of you could say that you attended the same school for your entire life? For 13 years, I've been attending Christian School of York. During my time at the school, I've had many positive and uplifting experiences with teachers and in the classroom. The teachers have always pushed myself and my peers to do our best spiritually and academically. Each teacher has consistently poured into myself and provided me with a strong example in faith, allowing me to strive and gain a sense of self-motivation. Christian School of York has always provided for me with academic accommodations and opportunities. I have made many friends and learned a lot of virtues such as responsibility, how to respect authority, and diligence. The teachers have ingrained the values of hard work and discipline since I started kindergarten. They have encouraged me and my peers to be the best versions of ourselves that we can be. They have always welcomed every student with open arms as though we were all family. Each of the teachers' influence on my life has led me to be the person I am today. They have greatly assisted me in maintaining a distinguished honor roll for the last 3 years of high school. My teachers at Christian School of York have always poured into me and given me wisdom and a different perspective. They have shown myself and my classmates mercy time and time again when it comes to mistakes. One of my mistakes happened to be in my freshman year. I failed an English poster board project. I procrastinated it until the day that it was due, and I just attached pictures on a poster with a few pieces of tape. My teacher questioned why I had done so poorly on my project because it was unlike me. After I explained to her why I did such a bad job, she decided to show me mercy and give me another chance to type a few paragraphs about my subject. She then took into account the paragraphs that I had written and gave me a B on the project rather than a D. I have always been shown the love of Christ at this school. I've had many opportunities that other schools cannot offer other students, such as the ability to partake in extracurricular activities and be a part of a God-fearing community. I appreciate the faith that I have and the faith of the staff at Christian School of York that I've set my eyes on as an example. In closing, I would like to share a short passage from the Bible that has given me a growing confidence throughout high school. Hebrews 10:35-36 says, "So do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what he has promised." This verse has helped me get the confidence to speak in front of you all and to continue to become the leader in the areas that God has intended me to. This verse has helped me to be confident in the work that I'm putting into academic, sports, and communication with people. I want to take this opportunity and thank you all for sharing your time with me and giving me the floor to explain the things that are valuable to me as an individual.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I am a student at Christian School of York, but I wasn't always. I went to Northeastern all the way up to 8th grade and transferred to CSY during the middle of the school year. My schooling experience was great at public school, and I always had a solid group of friends. I played field hockey and basketball. COVID-19 hit in 2020 and was instantly overwhelming, leaving me feeling alone and miserable. I quickly lost contact with many of my friends and wasn't able to be involved or active in my school or in other extracurricular activities. I have been over-involved and love to see how many activities I can take on. COVID-19 ruined this for me. My family found a new opportunity, CSY, starting by sending my 2 brothers to CSY at the beginning of my 8th grade year. But I wanted to stay at Northeastern. I had all my friends there and was terrified to start something new. I struggle with change, especially this drastic, or so it seemed back then. My parents started to notice how I lacked interest in my schooling at Northeastern and how I wasn't as joyful as I was before COVID. I've always been a happy person generally, but they noticed my cheerful attitude was slowly draining from me. So my parents made the decision to move me to CSY. I was told on Friday, and at 8:15 a.m. on the following Monday, I arrived at Christian School of York. I was so nervous and was scared of all the unknown in this new school, but I knew that I just had to go into it with a good attitude as well as being friendly and open to make new friends. Changing schools gave me an opportunities with sports. CSY teams are much smaller and gave me lots of opportunities to lead our teams. At CSY, there are not all team sports, or at least the ones my public school had provided, like field hockey. I could have played at York Tech, but I chose to play soccer instead, giving me more involvement in my school. I still get to play basketball as a varsity starter. My freshman and sophomore year, our team had a run at states and placed 5th both years. I am certain that I would never have been a varsity starter in state games at Northeastern. As for trying new things, my best friend during my sophomore year convinced me to do track and field as a thrower. I even won in districts for javelin. CSY sports may be limited, but have given me an opportunity to learn completely new sports quickly, be a leader, and simply remember why we play sports, to have fun, be competitive, and have fellowship with my teammates. I am positive that I wouldn't be in the leadership roles I am today without being at CSY. The opportunities here are so abundant, partially because of the smaller student body. This year I was selected as Student Council Vice President. I love working to plan activities for our student body to enjoy and getting to serve our school community in this way. A small school does not limit your opportunities, but expands them. I learned to lead, a skill that will follow me into the future. Ultimately, I can look back and know that my parents made the best decision for me to change schools. Thank you for listening.
Madison? You can go return.
Yep. Our club has often been blessed by the presence of some of the best and brightest students in York County. And as a club, we want to encourage you to continue your hard work and set a great examples to others. And remember that the best leaders serve their communities and oftentimes become Rotarians. You got my angle now. And at this point, I'd like to invite esteemed Rotarian Elliot Weinstein to introduce our program. Elliot.
Good afternoon, everybody, esteemed Rotarians and guests and friends. Matthew Jackson and I have become great friends in recent years, sharing lifelong Rotary-like goals to repair our broken world. Like many Rotarians here, Matthew and I strive to take our four-way test that everyone should have beyond Rotarians to new heights. So when Matthew asked me to do the speaker intro for this fascinating topic, I was truly honored. And for Matthew, who will subsequently introduce David Longfield-Smith. Both Matthew and David will both educate us about blue zones. As I look around at our York Rotary membership, I see an incredible, huge blue zone opportunity. Not only could our York Rotary Club be the 26th largest in the world in membership, but as a blue zone, we could actually vie to be the #1 Rotary Club in the world in age longevity, myself included, as I recently hit 70. A blue zone not only could be a club with membership living longer than any other Rotary Club in the world, but as a blue zone, we could have the #1 happiest Rotary Club membership in the world too, which you may already have. As its blue zone, President Aaron would see our York Rotary Club membership truly get to 300. Matthew Jackson is principal of MJ Consulting, because Matthew Jackson Consulting, past York City Economic Development Director, where we crossed paths many years ago, and Redevelopment Authority Secretary. A Rotary International Ambassadorial Scholar, Center for Progressive Leadership Fellow, and Certified Economic Developer. He holds postgraduate degrees from Dublin's Trinity College, University of Chicago, and Phi Beta Kappa graduate of Washington and Lee University. Matthew is liaison to the International Sites of Conscience, a very interesting group, chief editor of the Heart of Hanover Trails, Secretary of America 250 Hanover, and facilitator of the Blue Zones Hanover York County Feasibility Team. His award-winning projects earned honors from the International Economic Development Council and the Pennsylvania Downtown Center. I proudly introduce Matthew Jackson, my friend, to our York Rotary Club.
Thank you, Elliot. I'm delighted and grateful to be here. I come from a land far, far away, Hanover. Hanover, as you know, is the home of Utz potato chips, Snyder's of Hanover, Hanover Brands, and other food manufacturers and distributors, and is known as Snacktown, USA. In 2003, Mayor Sue Ann Whitman, a cancer survivor and Blue Zones disciple, teamed with me and my small consulting company to explore whether Snacktown USA could become a Blue Zones project where years are added to lives, and life and joy are added to years. I'd like to give some tough love stats about York County before we introduce my friend and cohort, David Longfield-Smith, to tee up his wonderful PowerPoint. Sadly, in York County, some chronic medical conditions are more prevalent compared to the rest of Pennsylvania. This data from the Pennsylvania State Department of Health and Dr. Matt Howey, Chief Health Strategist for York County. Stroke, brain bleeds, vascular dementia, cerebrovascular diseases are experienced in York County at a higher rate than the rest of Pennsylvania. Diabetes hits us harder than the rest of Pennsylvania. Lung and bronchus cancer hits us harder than the rest of Pennsylvania, as does melanoma of the skin, and preterm birth rates are higher as well. York County also has a higher teenage birth rate than average for Pennsylvania. And we also know that 30% of people in York County are obese. These stubborn factors show the need for holistic health, physical health, mental health, community health to be a priority in Metro Hanover, Metro York, and perhaps all of York County. Because more public health, better public health, smarter public health isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do for our economy, for our communities, and our bottom line. The good news, after those sobering statistics, the good news is that tried and true science-based, data-driven practices exist. The good news is that York County has Blue Zones disciples and ambassadors like cancer survivor and Hanover Mayor Sue Ann Whitman, like my sister, social worker and psychotherapist Janelle Mancuso, who's here today, and other ambassadors. The good news is that York County has a Blue Zones expert in residence who is with us today. His name is David Longfield-Smith. David has more than 30 years of experience in team building, sales and marketing, and process improvement. In 2015, David joined Blue Zones Southwest Florida, sponsored by Naples Community Health Care System, the primary hospital system in Collier County, Florida. David was senior consultant and organization lead with Blue Zones Project, which posted numbers indicating that Southwest Florida had the best public health in the nation for 4 years in a row. His Blue Zones Project helped 275,000 people in over 80 communities. David and his wife are now York County residents. Most people retire in Naples from this area. David decided to go against the grain. We're delighted to have David with us. Brother, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much. Can you hear me okay from there? Good? All right. Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. This is a 2-hour presentation. Just teasing. So there is a good bit of information to get through here, but I'm going to do this as quickly as possible because there's lots of information that we can share after the fact. So to begin with, Matthew kind of touched on, we all know there are issues in the United States. 60% of us in this room might classify as overweight or obese. I'm working on it. I'm doing my best. A lot of folks are challenged with unhealthy food choices, comfort food, fast food, drive-through everywhere. And we saw not just during COVID, but even before that, loneliness and social isolation could be quite an issue for folks. Back in 2000, the average American reported they had 3 really close friends. Today, we have 1.5. I'm a half friend to somebody out there. I can't find them. I'm looking for them. But think about it seriously. And I think it's a little bit different in Rotary. You all are very well connected, but life nowadays is very much about smartphone, quick connection, text messages, Zoom meetings, etc. Having that really close friend, that's a strain sometimes for folks, and it's really important for the quality of our life. So here's a pop quiz. What number would you put in there? Genetics. How long you're going to live, how well you're going to live. What would you attribute there as a number? Genetics. Anybody, give me a number. 60? 30? 10? Do I hear anything higher than 60? We all think about genetics. You can blame this right here maybe on genetics. In actual fact, genetics accounts only for 20% of how well and how long you're going to live your life. So there is a connection here, but kind of from the neck down, I own that. That's how I live my life. So it's very much our lifestyle and environment. We know this from the Danish twin studies. Pardon me, identical twins, same DNA, but lived very different lifestyles and very different environments. As a result, very different health outcomes. So back in 2004, my friend Dan Buettner, National Geographic fellow, best-selling author, he joined teams of about 40 scientists and demographers traveling the world to find the longest living people on the planet. They found in total 5 different places. We called those blue zones, and that name came about simply because when they were looking at the map, what color pen do you think they had close at hand? It was a blue. So blue zones were found. And I'll give you just a little bit of information about a couple of these. Sardinia, highest concentration of male centenarians on the planet, very connected in their community, their families. These folks live a rich and full life and a very mountainous terrain as well. In Sardinia, 1 out of every 250 people lives to the age of 100. In the United States, we're 1 out of 6,000. We're more advanced. We've got better roads. We have drive-through restaurants, but they're living a lot longer, richer, fuller, healthier life. Okinawa, Japan, highest concentration of female centenarians on the planet. And they also had a unique approach to attack loneliness. You're looking at it right here. And in their early stages of life, Okinawan mothers bring their kids and put them in what's called a moai. It's a group, like a social group. It's kind of like Rotary on steroids. A moai has folks come together for a common purpose, and they meet regularly. These folks meet every day. They miss once in a while, somebody's got an appointment, but they get together every day. And this group here has been meeting for 97 years. The average age in the room is 101. So every Wednesday is a good start, but think about how maybe you can connect a little more often. That connection, they're like a personal board of directors. They're best friends. There might be disagreements from time to time, but there's not loneliness. Okinawa, highest disability-free life expectancy in the world, 7 years living longer than the average American, 5 times as many centenarians as we have. And these last 2 here are big ones. 1/5 the rate of breast and colon cancer, and 1/6 the rate of cardiovascular disease. 80% of Americans over age 60 will die from one of those 3 things. That's our national average. These folks are doing really, really well. One of the blue zones naturally occurring was found in the United States, Loma Linda, California. Very big Seventh-day Adventist population. These folks come from all walks of life, but they have their religion, how they treat themselves together as a shared practice. On average, 10 years longer life than the average American. These folks eat predominantly vegan, no animal. They don't drink alcohol. They're very active. They treat their body as a temple. And I'll give you an example of one here. This is a gentleman named Ellsworth Wareham. Ellsworth is a multimillionaire, and he got his money by being smart with his money. He wanted a fence put up. They gave him a quote of $6,000. And he said, well, for $6,000, I'll do it myself. He's 94 years old in this photograph, and he decided I'll build the fence. So for 3 days, National Geographic followed him around, digging the holes, putting in the concrete, putting in the post. He did it all by himself. On the 4th day, perhaps predictably, he did end up in open heart surgery. But that's not Ellsworth. Let me see if I can get this laser. There we go. That's not Ellsworth on the table. That's him there. Dr. Ellsworth Wareham performed on average 20 open heart surgeries a month at Loma Linda Medical Center until he retired at age 98. If you look him up, Wikipedia, he's responsible for bringing open heart surgery to more countries around the world than probably anybody else on the planet. He died at 104. Pretty impressive life. So the Blue Zones, Dan wrote about this. You could find lots of stuff online, TED Talks, Oprah, lots of different publications. It boils down to 9 simple lessons, 9 tenets. We call it the Power 9. And essentially, it's about movement. It's about connecting with people. It's about having your purpose, living a life of purpose. It's not just diet. It's not just exercise. It's very much what you all do as Rotarians, coming together, making a difference in the world, having friends and connections. So one day, AARP and the National Geographic, they asked Dan, well, you've learned a lot from the Blue Zones. Can you make one? Can you bring the old world to our world? Now, Dan's up for a challenge. He thought, he lives in Minneapolis, and he thought, fair enough, let's pick a small town. 28 communities in Minnesota did apply. Albert Lee, Minnesota was chosen. And in 3 years, the results were staggering. 40% drop in municipal employees' healthcare costs, huge decreases in smoking, obesity. They created this nice walkway around a lake downtown, huge improvement in property values. Businesses started moving in and buying property in town rather than leaving. It was really quite a success. Dr. Murthy, our Surgeon General again, but he was Surgeon General at the time, was hoping that we can do more about prevention and not just treatment. We're really good in this country, phenomenal healthcare in attacking illnesses, but we struggle sometimes in preventing them. Dr. Murthy joined us at the Blue Zones Project out in the Beach Cities, California. And again, another successful project. And the projects really caught on. There's been tremendous interest. The company that I worked for, ShareCare, down in Southwest Florida. Anybody here been to Naples before? Okay, you got a car parked there now? Okay, good. So Southwest Florida, you might know NCH Healthcare System. This was a project, an 8-year project in a community of 445,000 people. Blue Zones projects have started appearing all across the United States. And it's a very exciting program. And instead of the Power 9, those lessons that we learned from the Blue Zones, only using those is a feel-good, but we have to take a different approach if you want to change an entire community. So Blue Zones project focuses on the life radius. Those notions from the old world, the Blue Zones, the Power 9, are wonderful for individuals, but we have to look at a community, people, places, and policy. So you can kind of see the list here. It's pretty big, but in general, you spend 80% of your life within 5 miles of where you live and where you work. Anything beyond that is either a commute or a vacation. You know, think about it, where you live and where you work. That's what we really want to focus on, changing and improving the environments, encouraging volunteerism. Hospital systems have been quite involved with this. Some of these folks that you see here either sponsored a project or in the community, they were very involved in the project. And you'd kind of expect that. You'd expect healthcare industry leaders to be leading a community health initiative. And it's great for the residents, but it's also great for the healthcare system. This was our sponsor in Southwest Florida. Take a look at the numbers here. They had a 3-point jump in their own employees' well-being, 54% decrease in healthcare costs, and $27 million they saved in just 3 years. Has anybody had their healthcare insurance go down lately? $27 million they saved. They know those numbers because they're self-insured. They pay all the bills directly. Talking with Alexis, community gardens, walking school buses, a great thing that we dealt with in communities. Kids always ride the school bus to school. That's fantastic. With the walking school bus, the bus stops about 2 blocks early, and the kids have a chance to get out and walk the last couple of blocks. Tommy can shake the ants out of his pants, and it helps him greatly improve the focus in school. Restaurants, I worked with a lot of restaurants in Southwest Florida. I like food. So it was a nice fit. But the restaurants did really, really well. $2.5 million worth of Blue Zones inspired dishes. Policy, food, tobacco, built environment, walkways, bikeways, bikeability, and also impacting the food policy. This was a big piece of it because we often think of Southwest Florida, if you know Naples, very wealthy community. Have you ever been to Immokalee, to Bonita Springs? Some of those communities inland are very, very poor agricultural migrant communities. So our challenge was to help everybody, not just the wealthy folks that might have a National Geographic subscription, but the people that maybe didn't read English or speak English in Immokalee. We wanted to impact the entire community. So there was a lot of work with bringing produce to folks, expanding the SNAP benefits to farmers markets, community gardens. I love this particular one. This was a family I met in Immokalee. The picture on the left was their produce department the day I first met them. 12 feet of really kind of rough merchandising at the back of the store because nobody really wanted to buy the produce. Well, we convinced them to shift it to the front of the store, and they started selling a huge amount. Walkability, bikeability, we have one of the top urbanists in the world. Dan Burden helped us with street designs, improving not only safety, but getting people out in the community. So a total of 835 organizations, 275,000 people actually connected and participating in the project. We were ranked by Gallup as the healthiest community in the nation 4 years in a row. When we started the project, we were number 48. So we're really proud to do it once. It was awesome to do it twice. Come the third or fourth year, you actually think, wow, that's pressure. We wanted to change the standards. So that's where I lived in Southwest Florida, and this is where I live now in York. Very similar. It's down at the bottom. It's really warm, except it's a little different in York. But just to give you an idea, our communities are really quite different. And in conclusion, just kind of share, this is the team that we currently have, our Blue Zones Project Feasibility team, and there are more folks growing and joining with us. Matthew, anything to add there? We have sheets on the table, correct?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Also, Jenny Engler.
Oh, gotcha. So we would like to publicize here. There's the Healthy York. They've got a health forum, community forum taking place at Penn State campus here in York. You can sign up at the table there if you'd like more Blue Zones Project information from us. You can join the feasibility team, help us explore the opportunities. And please, after the meeting here, please feel free to stick around and chat with us. We'd love to answer any and all questions. So Aaron, I know we're tight on time, but let me turn over for questions.
Thank you so much. Even though my background and what I do is in arts and culture, I think a lot about movement and transportation. I noticed, Bill, you brought your bike in today, right? So as a road rider, I do find it sometimes difficult to ride and share the road with cars. We're a county that's built for cars. So what did you do? Did you have that issue in Florida? And what do cities and places do to get people moving more safely?
Absolutely. So Florida, you might not be aware, but Florida is actually one of the least safe states to ride a bicycle. The weather's great, but you are taking your life in your own hands. So we worked with both the city of Naples and Collier County, as well as the bike and roadway coalition groups, different volunteer organizations, to assess where were the pinch points, where were the greatest troubles. And it's not just recreational cyclists, people out riding for fun that had to be considered, but it's folks riding their bike to the hotel, to the hospital, or to the restaurant. There's a very large population in Immokalee, as well as Golden Gate City and Bonita Springs that bicycles to work. So that was a big issue for us. And it required not only giving the ideas and the inspiration to the city leaders, the county leaders, they had some funding, but maybe they needed a different way to look at how to do a bike lane, how to have the bump outs to slow traffic down a little bit, how to get cars and bicycles to share the space. Dan Burden, who's one of the, he's a Blue Zones specialist and an urbanist. He's one of the 100 top urbanists of all time, one of the 6 top in the world right now, very good at his work. And it's kind of fun to watch him get out with community leaders and show them through his eyes how dangerous some of the things could be. And once I think leaders see that, they get on a bike themselves, they go some walking themselves, et cetera, they realize there is an opportunity. So we did a lot of work with that. Aples, Bonita, and Immokalee, and Estero. Other questions? I answered everything? No way, no way. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you, David, for teaching us about blue zones. It really causes us to reflect on the quality of life and what it really means when it extends over a century of long life living. You also taught us the value of good quality health and our seniors in the communities for the abundance of talent and wisdom they continue to offer us. Now, I don't know how you can reconcile having a blue zone in the snack capital of the world, but I will certainly do my part to reach 100 years old. And so far, so good. Felt good. I like that. In honor of the program today, David has signed the book Platelet, A Testament of Hope by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and it will be donated to the Christian School of York, along with a bookmark by the students at Creative York. What a great program that was today, and wait till you hear what we have for next week. Next week, we will hear from Julie Keem of Flinchball's Orchard and Farm Market. Food for thought. Today, Flinchball's Orchard and Farms is maintained by 3 generations of Flinchballs, including Julie. Every farming family has a unique story to share with a common theme of deep pride in their farms, their families, the environment, and providing quality products and experiences to customers and communities. While challenges are ever growing and changing, the possibilities and opportunities continue to arise for those in the industry to thrive. So please join us next week to hear Julie's story. Have an amazing Rotarian week. This meeting is adjourned.